you don't really have an idea of what being committed looks like until you've seen it. When I was shadowing Peyton Manning, it was exhausting because he was so locked in every meeting and asking questions and writing notes down. The biggest trend right now that I think is hurting athletes is just this wanting to look.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Athlete Country Club. Today's guest is someone who gave me my first real understanding of what it meant to be a Division I quarterback. We shared a quarterback room at Oregon State, and as much as we were competing, I learned more from watching his preparation approach than probably, honestly, any coach could have taught me. I'm currently an assistant coach at the University of Washington. Luke Del Rio, welcome to Athlete Country Club, brother.
Thank you very much, man. Excited to be here. Excited to catch up. We kind
Yeah.
of went our separate ways after Oregon State. We both had success at other schools.
Yeah.
So it's nice to reconnect.
Yeah, no, and kind of diving that, I think that's something I wanted to kind of just, give you your flowers to start off. I don't know if I've actually ever told you this, but you were kind of in that quarterback circus we had going on at Oregon State for a little bit, where there were seven quarterbacks post Sean Mannion era. Didn't know who the quarterback was, and everyone's getting a rep once every 30 minutes. Wasn't the funnest time, but kind of to kind of give you your flowers. You were the one quarterback on that roster where I genuinely, at the time, I was like, if I lose this quarterback competition to Luke, I'm going to be okay with it, because at that time, he's a better quarterback than me, just mentally, throwing the ball, everything, to where I think I learned a lot from you during that time period, kind of just watching you, kind of how you attack the quarterback process too.
Yeah, I was in a quarterback competition every year in college, whether it was for, who's going to be the third string so you travel when you're a freshman, or for the backup job my first year, really my only year at Oregon State. And in the spring, the following year is the one that you're referencing. Yeah, it was crazy. It was everybody, new staff. Hey, let's see what we have. Everybody had a chance to try to earn it, which is tough, but it's fair, I guess. And then Florida had to sit out a year, but then it was, competing for the starting job and then got hurt, so I had to compete again for the starting job, and it's a part of it. It's a part of it.
Yeah, no, and I guess when you think back, I know it was a small part in your quarterback career. You kind of had Alabama, Oregon State, success at Florida. When you think back to those days at Oregon State, what did that quarterback room kind of mean to you, or what was your overall learning process from that?
Yeah, I lived with Sean Mannion. He was the starter in 2014, and um, me and Brent Vanderveen, if I'm remembering that name right, were competing for the backup job in training camp, and I actually lost. I actually lost the competition. Um, but I ended up getting it, like week 3 or 4 because I kept playing well. And I was the backup the whole year. I got to play a little bit and like mop up duty. But, other than like really, I had like one bad experience of a quarterback competition, and it can get sideways. But I think my experience, the one that you're referencing, the 7-man race, that wasn't negative because of the players. It was negative because of the circumstance. You're getting one rep like a period. And if it's quick game, you're making decisions that you probably wouldn't if you had 5 straight reps. You're okay with a check down, but I have to make a play because I get one rep. Um, but the room itself with the different players and keeping it healthy and keeping it supportive, and it's really, it doesn't help anybody if you're rooting for a guy to fail or to throw a pick, even though it's kind of human nature. Like, well, I want to win. Um, it all works itself out in the end. But when you're young like that, when you're 18, 19, like you don't really know better. You're coming from being the dude and playing a lot. All of us played a lot, obviously, in high school, and it's a huge adjustment. But I thought that Lyle Moivau was outstanding. He was there. Obviously, he's at Arizona now. He was so steady and he was great. And then we had Langsdorf, Danny Langsdorf, and he was awesome too. I actually wish I got to play for him. He recruited me there, but went to the Giants in 2014. But the room itself and like the guys and keeping a healthy environment is so important. And it helped me a lot at Florida, where I was competing against 5 stars. And that comes with a whole nother set of expectations from the public and the boosters and who they want to play and all of that.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, for you, I mean, when did you, I mean, like first realize you wanted to play quarterback at the highest level? I mean, was it like growing up around the game with your dad, or did it the fire kind of come from somewhere else?
Yeah, it's funny because my dad played linebacker, right? He played linebacker in the NFL for 11 years and was a Pro Bowler and um, two-sport All-American at USC. Could have played basketball at UCLA if he wanted to, like just a phenom athlete. Um, but I wasn't as physically talented as him as far as, he's 6'4" and he was fast and um, I'm 6'1" and not that fast. But growing up, I kind of realized like, all right, I'm not really the budding giant that he was growing up, and I wanted to keep playing. I had a good feel for the game. And it was like probably in middle school, I had to decide kind of where I wanted to focus. I wasn't like a Sam Darnold where I'm just like a great athlete and I happen to play quarterback. I knew it was going to be more of a Tom Brady route where like you're not a great athlete, like you're a pretty good athlete, but if you can focus and kind of hone the skill of the position and play quarterback well,
Yeah,
you could probably go pretty far with this.
yeah,
And I always had a pretty good arm, and I knew that if I really worked at it, it could get good enough to be able to make some noise. And then in high school, it was always I want to play big time Division I football, or I don't want to play at all. I don't really know why I thought that way, but it was always like if I don't get any D1 offers, like I'll just go to college.
yeah,
Which I don't really believe that now, but that's how I viewed it then. And obviously, I
yeah.
ended up playing Division I.
Yeah, and I mean that was kind of your story. I mean, you started your college career at Alabama. I mean, what was it like walking into a program led by, I mean, Nick Saban as a young quarterback?
Yeah, so I was like a high three, low four-star recruit. I was like right there. I had like five offers. Was committed to Oklahoma State when they were ranked in the top five with Brandon Whedon and Justin Blackman, and they were rolling. But I didn't have an offer from Alabama. Um, I went to the Elite 11 and I played against their commits in that camp. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I could beat these guys out. Like if I went to Bama. And I went on a visit to Bama and they didn't offer me because they already had two commits. And I kind of brought up the idea, like, would you guys take me as a walk-on? They were like, are you serious? Like, why would you walk on? You have offers from other schools. I was like, because I know I can beat these guys out and I want to be here. Like, you guys are the best. I want to play with the best. So they were like, yeah, that's kind of wild, but yeah. So I went there and I was seventh string, and then one guy left, so then there was six. And then the first spring camp, I beat out those two other freshmen. Um, so then I was fourth. And then in fall camp, I beat out one more guy and I was third. So it was AJ McCarron and then Blake Sims and then me. And I was kind of splitting the backup reps with Blake, which I
Mhm.
thought was weird. It was like I thought the backup got the backup reps.
Yeah,
And then I was going to be like the scout team quarterback.
yeah,
But they kind of kept flipping me from scout team back to get some reps with the twos. And we played Texas A&M week two, and it was at A&M. And this is the year after Johnny went into Tuscaloosa and won. So Johnny's the quarterback of A&M, and we go there, and it's like it's the craziest environment I've been in. I've been in a lot of stadiums, NFL and college. It was wild. It was like a rock concert. And, gig 'em, Aggies, gig 'em, their big thing is like, they give you the thumb. I
hmm,
saw this more than I saw the thumb
yeah,
like throughout the day. And Johnny and I had actually trained a little bit in the off season leading up to that year. So I knew him a little bit. And we said hi before and after the game, but they jumped on us, 14 nothing, loudest I've ever heard a crowd. We came back and won. But before we went out for the coin toss in the game, we've already done warm-ups. We're in pads. We come back in, and it's kind of that like 10-minute break before you go out. Uh, Doug Nussmeier, the offensive coordinator, pulls me aside. He's like, "Hey, by the way, like if if AJ gets hurt, like Blake's gonna go in. But I don't know. I wouldn't expect that to really be the case for very long because we have to call a different offense with Blake because he can run so well. Um, so I would be expecting to play if I was you, if AJ got hurt. And I just thought like, hitting my stomach, sweating, immediately thought like I would have watched a lot more film
Yeah.
if I knew that this is the case. And I go out and I'm like, I'm watching the game, but I'm so nervous about AJ getting hit or rolled
Yeah.
up on or anything. I'm like, dude, just stay healthy. Like at this point, I don't even care if we win. Just stay healthy.
Oh, dude.
Um, but it was a good like early lesson is like you're not that far away from playing. It feels like you are, but you're really not. Um, that's kind of a roundabout way to answer your question. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was a wild year. I was kind of the emergency backup the whole year. Got to keep my red shirt. I did not end up playing that year, but
Yeah.
to see Nick Saban and the teammates that I had. I mean, my roommates when I got there were Derrick Henry and OJ Howard and um, Alvin Kamara was on that team. Like just a
Jeez.
incredible, incredible team.
Yeah, no, and I think that's such an important thing in like a well told story as far as that you are one play away. It's like especially as a backup, even a three sometimes, like you're one or two plays away from going in. I vividly remember Minnesota, Daryl Garrettson was starting ahead of me and I was the backup, and I remember he was just getting I've never seen a quarterback get whacked more. He was taking a beating, dude. Just every throw was getting whacked. And I'm on the sideline, like almost at that point, I'm like, please get up, dude, because I do not want to go in. I was like, the line is not blocking. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go in there and be just a punch dummy, just getting hit left and right. So I totally feel that, and just, I mean, kind of follow up on that. I mean, what were some of your biggest takeaways? I mean, just from Saban's culture that you still kind of carry into coaching today.
Yeah, there's so many. Just to piggyback off of your Minnesota story, when I was at Florida, Austin Appleby, who I'm still good friends with today, was the backup, and we had a competition. I beat him out, and then I got hurt, so then he was playing. But the whole thing, it's the healthiest quarterback competition I've been in, and the whole thing was like whoever was starting. Let's say he was starting. I got hurt, and I was now backing him up, and he was starting. He would take a huge hit, right, and he would come to the sideline and I'd be like, look, dude, I'm not going in this game. So figure it out.
Yeah,
Okay. Suck it up, get
yeah.
up, go
Oh,
back out there. I'm not going in.
yeah,
And then I ended up coming back from injury and I was starting and I take this massive hit against Missouri. And I'm like laying in the swamp and it's terrible weather and my knee is killing me because I came back from an MCL and I hear Austin yelling at me, "You're fine. Get up."
yeah.
And I'm like, that's fair. That's fair.
That's
Because when
fair.
you were getting crushed, I was like, dude, I'm
Yeah,
not going in.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I've heard the same story from Trent Dilfer. He's
God,
like, look, man, like, you better find a way. I don't care if you're concussed, your hand's broken. Like, I'm not going in this game if you can
yeah,
still stand.
yeah,
But people don't really realize, like, the public, guys that didn't play quarterback even, they probably don't understand that.
oh yeah,
But it's like a moving rapid. Like you're already in it, and if you're the backup, you're not in it at all. And
yeah,
it's like, dude, I don't want to jump in there.
yeah,
Um, but back to the Saban, there were so many things, and I think CJ Mosley, who was a senior on that team, he was awesome. He described it really well. And it was in like a players only meeting that we had weekly. And he said, look, all of you are talented enough to play in the NFL. You would not be here if you weren't. So everybody asked me, like he said, I'll probably go in the first round. Everybody asked me, like, how do you do it? How do you become an All-American? He's like, just do what they tell you to do. Like, it's a formula. Look around you. Look how many first rounders there are. All of you are talented enough. If they tell you to be at a meeting at this time, be there at that time. You got to do a workout, do all the reps. You got to go to class. And when you play, like be assignment sound. Because the physical part of it, the athletic part of it, like you guys have. That's why you're here. So like just follow the program and the process of it and you'll end up getting drafted. And I was like, wow, that seems so simple, but it is true. And
Yep.
it's just like, how long can you stay disciplined? How many days can you stack? Um, Saban's approach every day was just so consistent, and it's really not sexy. He's just like, he doesn't really blink. He out recruits everybody. That's why they got those guys.
Yeah.
He just worked harder at it. I mean, when they would win a natty, you've heard Lane Kiffin say it, they met the next morning. So, yeah, just the consistency day after day will beat an exceptional day every now and then. But that goes against human nature.
Yeah. No, 100%. And obviously kind of your path from, I mean, Bama to Oregon State, you eventually landed at University of Florida. I mean, where you became the starting quarterback. I mean, kind of looking back, I mean, it's again, if you didn't play the position, it's really hard to even fully appreciate this question. But three different schools, three different systems, multiple coaches, offensive coordinators. I mean, what did that teach you about resilience and adaptation and just about yourself?
Yeah, everybody goes to college. Like, I'm gonna maybe I'll redshirt a year and then I'm gonna start for 4 straight years and we're gonna win a bunch of games. I'm gonna go in the first round. Um, like I guarantee you didn't think you would end up at Fresno State. Um, but it's you look back on it and it's a crazy journey, and you can't really believe all of the things that happened when they happened. And like football years are like dog years, man. I mean, there's so much that happens, and time slows down but also flies by. Like seasons, the weeks are long, but the seasons are short. I feel that way in coaching as well. But going to Alabama, I did not want to leave, but they didn't put me on scholarship after being the backup quarterback. So it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go where I'm wanted. Oregon State recruited me the hardest, and they have success with producing guys that play in the NFL. Okay, I'll go there because that's a stable environment. And Mike Riley is not going anywhere. So go there. We're not great. I think we're 3-9. I get to be the backup. I get to play a little bit, and then we get an impromptu 7 a.m. meeting or whatever
Half
it
the guys
was.
showed up. Yeah.
Yeah, like, because it was like team meeting in 20 minutes. I was like, is this a real
Yeah.
text? And, Coach Riley's there in a suit and he's like teary-eyed. So everybody thinks he's retiring. And it's like a hard moment for him, or that he's been fired. But then I was like, well, why is he in a suit if he got fired? And he said he's leaving for Nebraska. And I was like, okay, did not expect that, because he was one of the guys you look at that, well, he's definitely not leaving. He
Yeah.
was a Nick Saban, Kyle Whittingham, Dabo Sweeney, Chris Peterson.
Hmm.
They could leave, but they're not leaving. And oh my God, he's leaving. And I just thought, like, man, that's bad luck right there. Like, I was with this staff, I know this offense, and all of a sudden all that's going to change. Um, so you kind of just take it as it comes and you do the best you can, and you learn like you really don't have that much control over anything outside of yourself. Um, that came out a little selfish, but it shouldn't. Like, all you can control is kind of your approach and how hard you work and your attitude, and because the rest, like who the coach is and who they bring in to play quarterback or to play, or to be the offensive coordinator, like you really don't have much say over that. When I was trying to make a decision on where I wanted to go to college, I was living in Denver, and I got to be around the team a lot because my dad was coaching for the Broncos.
Hmm.
And I remember talking a lot with Peyton Manning, and he said the one thing I would just say is go somewhere where you actually like the school too. I'm not talking like academics. I'm saying like you like living there, you like the people there. If football's taken away, because it will be, then you're still happy. And what he meant by it will be taken away, like if you're redshirting, you're not playing. So you better enjoy, living where you're living. You're not at football 24/7. It's a lot, but you better like going out with your buddies, or going, if you like fishing, going fishing or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Um, because through injury, redshirting, or like his brother Cooper, he got medically, retired at a very young age. So um, that was good advice, and I met my wife at Oregon State, so it worked out.
Yeah.
And now I'm back in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think I give that advice to every single kid I talk to and parent who asks me is when they're picking a school for that exact same reason. It's like, hey, football is a huge portion of your day, but it's not 24/7. I mean, you're going to have time, you have to enjoy where you're at. So I mean, I couldn't have said that any better. And I mean, just for in your opinion, I mean, for parents listening, how can they best support their athletes when plans don't go as expected?
Yeah, that's something, especially with the transfer portal now. It's so easy to jump ship. And I transferred twice without the portal. And yeah, I mean, you get it. So yeah, I would say, I would expect it to not go how you think. Um, we have a bunch of freshman wide receivers this year, and some of them are starting, doing great. Some are playing a little bit, some aren't playing at all. And I bet they all thought that they would play a lot. Um, and that's hard when your expectations aren't met. And you could use that situation for anybody.
Mhm.
I would just say, like, be supportive. You chose the school for the right reasons, and it's not just for playing time. That's a big part of it. But um, you trusted the staff, you trusted the university with your kid, and yeah, you wish he'd be playing, but like it's bigger than just playing, especially when you're a freshman. I mean, you're just trying to survive first time away from your parents. So be supportive, be there as many times as you can physically, visiting them. That always helped for, especially for homesick
Yeah.
kids. But it is a tough year. Like it's tough even for guys that get to play a lot. It's a tough year. It's a very hard transition.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I try to harp on parents and athletes as much as I can. So, it's like you said, you have this big, grandiose expectation for yourself when you get there. You're going to be a freshman. I'm going to be a freshman All American. We're going to win bowl games. I'm going to lead the charge. And you get there and you realize you're competing with a 23-year-old who's been in college for 4 years, and maybe he has a wife and maybe he has a kid already. And you're a fresh out of high school trying to figure it out, and you've never taken. So I think it's a big kind of quick dose of reality. But I mean, for you, kind of transitioning from player to coach, I mean, after Florida, you stepped into coaching. I mean, was that like always the plan, or did that kind of passion reveal itself a little bit later?
Yeah, it's funny the way that my playing career ended was pretty rough. I got hurt a lot at Florida. Turns out that the SEC has creatures on defense. So, I started a good amount in 2016, and I got shut down basically because I had a labrum and a bad AC sprain and an MCL in my knee and a meniscus, and I was just completely beat up. And then came back, played some in 2017, and my first game back as a starter, I shattered my collarbone, like shattered into five pieces. I now have a 7-inch plate with, bunch of screws in it. And that was it. I was so done. I felt like I had given like everything I had to football, and like my body just couldn't hold up. And that was really frustrating. And so I didn't touch a football for like a year and a half straight after that play. Like, we ran basically, it was four verts with like a juke route underneath, right? And it was like third and 11. And they played man, and I threw the juke, but I left a clean pocket and I kind of jumped to throw it to Brandon Powell, who's still in the NFL. He had a catch in every single one of his games at Florida, which is pretty awesome. And I got caught when I was in the air when I threw it. I got caught by their fore eye, and he caught me and planted me like a sunflower. And I knew when I was in the air, I was like, I'm gonna get hurt when I land right here. Like this guy's too big. I'm too high off the ground. Like this is gonna be too much force. Like it's probably gonna be my shoulder that goes, because I landed on the same shoulder that I tore my labrum. I was like, that puppy is gone.
Yeah.
So I felt, enormous impact, and I immediately was like, I don't think it's my shoulder. And like I kind of like went here and I didn't feel a collarbone. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's that. Yeah, I just shattered my collarbone. So um, I did not get directly into coaching. I went to New York City and got into like the business world. right? Like, I don't want to do coaching. My dad was a coach. I know what that life is. So, moved to New York and worked in fintech, and it was super boring and a bad fit, but I always wanted to live in New York City, and I did it, and that was awesome. Um, but I missed football a lot, and I dabbled in media a little bit, and I enjoyed it. Um, but it wasn't quite scratching the itch that I had. And my boss in New York was like, "Hey man, you're good at this, but like it seems like you really love football. Like why don't you do that?" So I got into coaching, tried to get a college job, whiffed a couple times. There's some good stories there. And I ended up coaching at Santa Margarita Catholic High School out in the Trinity League in California. It's a great league. And then my dad got the job with the Redskins, and he got to bring me along on the offensive side of the ball under Ron Rivera, which was a huge break. And everybody talks about like, oh, you're lucky because your last name and nepotism, and like, yeah, yes, yeah, of course, like,
Yeah.
of course, like, what are you going to say? No.
Yeah.
And everybody has breaks. Everybody has connections, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be blood related, but like, my next door neighbor was a senator. Therefore, I have a lot better access to, being on Capitol Hill.
We're on this call and this podcast because we just so happen to both go to Oregon State together for a
That's
year,
right.
not for a
That's
long
right.
period of time, just for a
That's
small
right.
portion of our life.
That's right. It's all relationships, and I
Yeah.
think that's what you realize. Like the longer you play and the longer you're kind of in the real world, it's all about relationships because until you've really gotten to know somebody, I'd rather be with somebody I know. Maybe they're just okay versus
Mhm.
somebody I have no idea anything about, but I've been told they're good.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather go with what I know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, since then I've 4 years with the Commanders. It was awesome. We played a lot of quarterbacks. I got to learn a lot, but I did not. It was not like I want to be a coach after I get done playing. It was kind of like I'll get into that if this doesn't work.
Hmm.
And it didn't feel like a backup plan when I got into it. It was more of like, okay, I miss football a lot, and what's the way I can kind of attach myself to that again. It's like, well, the closest thing to playing is coaching.
Yeah.
So been in it and moved a couple times now. And if you're a coach, then you're going to move.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. But I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, and I feel like I've been around a lot of coaches that don't always have the caliber of playing history that you have. A lot of the times, coaches in the NFL or in the NFL, especially in college level, they probably didn't even play college themselves, or maybe they only played a little bit. So, for you personally, I mean, when did you realize you had a gift for teaching the game and not just playing it?
Yeah, it helps playing quarterback because you have to communicate to the 10 other guys in the huddle, and they don't all hear you the same.
Yeah,
The linemen are just listening for the protection and then like, hey, let me go.
yeah,
Um, the running back hears the play call and then asks you what to do after. The wideouts, they're like, where do I go? So you find a way to kind of,
God, that's the
uh,
realest description of playing
yeah,
quarterback
I
in
mean,
college
like
ever.
I played with a really talented wideout at Florida, really talented.
Yeah,
And he asked me what he had every single play, every play. And what I couldn't say like bingo. I couldn't say the concept. I had to
yeah,
be like, you have a post
yeah,
over there. And he's like, got it. So, but hey, if you're really good, then I'll
yeah.
do that. But the backup slot, like, hey man, get out. Like if you
Yeah.
don't know it, get
No,
out. But
yeah, seriously, no. And even I'll interject there for a second too. We had to tell you an example what it's like to play Division 1 college football. We had the fastest guy, lights out, track guy, really fast. Couldn't remember plays very well. I'll just to put it nicely, I won't say his name. He had two or three plays in this package. We had a package for him. Hey, you have two plays this game, dude. It's all you have. I remember looking at him. We're in 3-by-1. He's by himself. It's going to motion a 4-by-4 set. I motion him over, and he's coming through. And literally, as he's motioning across my face, he
ask you
said,
what he has.
"Hey, what I got?" And I'm looking at the defense, dude. I'm processing. I'm looking at stuff, blitz, pressures. My mind's everywhere. I literally had to shut everything down mid motion and say, "Okay, you're this spot. You're this position. You have a corner." And all he says is "bet" and just keeps on running by me. That's Division 1 quarterback for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know how you kind of process plays mentally, but like, if you ask me to draw a formation, trips right, I can draw trips right. And, crowd right, I can draw crowd right.
Yeah.
And then if you tell me the concept, like, got it, I can draw it. But like when you're in the pocket, like I'm looking at spaces and I'm expecting guys in certain spots.
Yep.
So when a random guy is like, what do I have? I'm like, what are you playing?
Yeah,
Are
yeah,
you
yeah.
the F,
Exactly.
the X, or the Z? And then, okay, well, where is he in this? Okay, well, he has okay, yeah, you have the corner.
Yeah.
Like that takes some brain power.
Yeah. No, for
Because when
sure.
you're in shotgun, you're like, I know somebody's on the post, I know somebody's on this corner, and I know somebody's going to be in the flat.
For
Let's
sure.
go.
Yeah.
I really don't care who's out there.
Sometimes
My
it's
dude
split
is on the
release,
post.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, like, dude, you guys handle it.
Yeah.
Let me throw it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I still think that way, like as a coach. It's like, yeah, you
Yeah.
want guys in certain spots, and that's what the game planning is for, and that's what the week is for. But like game day, dude, like let it rip. Like I'm not trying to like sit back there and psychoanalyze everything.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I had that as well. Same
Definitely.
whiteout.
It's the craziest experience to be able to do that. And I mean, just for your coaching game, I mean, you've coached under some great minds, obviously. I mean, from Nick Saban, Dan Mullen, and now at Washington. I mean, how have those kind of influenced or shaped your coaching style?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I have noticed with guys that I think do a really good job is they're authentic and they're themselves. And I think you see pretty consistently guys fail when they try to copy whoever they came from or their favorite influence. Like whatever it is, coaches and players especially, they just smell the lack of authenticity. And it's like, hey man, if you're nerdy, be nerdy. If you're a rah-rah guy, be a rah-rah guy. If you're an Exos guy, you know, do that. If you're a great recruiter, be that. And then hire whatever you're bad at. Hire well in those areas. So then you kind of have a complete, staff. That's what the staff is for. My dad always says it's the power of the staff. Like you can't do it all. And a lot of times when guys become head coaches, it feels like, well, all of a sudden now I'm an expert in everything. I think the best ones remain vulnerable. And they're like, I don't know everything. Like I need help here. I need help here. I'm really good at this. You heard Steve Sarkisian say it the other day. I was hired because I was a really good coordinator.
Hmm.
So like, no, I'm not giving up play calling. That's like what I do. Which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
But but yeah, all of the best ones, like just be yourself. And they all have to have some sort of presence. Even Coach Mike Riley, like not intimidating posture,
Hmm.
not a loud man whatsoever,
Yeah.
but commanded immense amount of respect. There's a lot of examples of that too.
Yeah. No, for sure. And then, I mean, specifically just at like Washington, I mean, they've become, I mean, some could say, I mean, argue that, I mean, a premier quarterback program, I mean, in the country. I mean, what's like the secret sauce, what's actually being done day to day that parents and athletes might not see?
I think they've been really fortunate with like five really good head coaches in a row
Yeah.
that have, and it's probably more than that, that have a really good eye for talent and evaluating. Um, I mean, Chris Peterson, Steve Sarkisian, Kalen DeBoer, who you know well,
Hmm.
Jed Fish. I mean, all those guys have had success at other places too with quarterbacks. And whether they're super involved, like Coach Fish is, or maybe not quite as much in the day-to-day stuff as far as meetings and individual drills and game planning, like Chris Peterson was more of a CEO.
Hmm.
Um, that's kind of been the steady presence. And then also, like when I was coming out, I always kind of had an eye on Washington and they recruited me because when you see good players playing there, you're like, well, they know how to do it. So
Yeah.
I kind of want to go there. It's easier to see yourself there when you see, Mark Brunell, Jake Locker, and Keith Price, and Michael Penix, and now Damon Williams. It's like, it seems like whoever wears that purple and gold is kind of a baller. So I kind of want to go there.
Yeah.
And I think too that the the teams we play, being in the Pac-12, it was always kind of a quarterback league.
Hmm.
And now in the Big Ten, there's really kind of the two leagues, right? The SEC and the Big Ten. And it's like if you want to play big time football, like this is one of those schools. So I don't really think it was any one thing. It's kind of a combination,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
No, 100%. And you kind of mentioned a lot of those guys that, I mean, I kind of grew up watching too. You said Jake Locker, Keith Price, all these guys that were playing at Washington and kind of on the West Coast side, kind of handling their business. But I mean, in your opinion, now being a coach, I mean, obviously you have two sides of it, right? You have the player perspective and now you have the coach perspective. In your opinion, I mean, how would you define a coachable player?
That's a good question. When I got to Washington, it's kind of confusing because I went from the Washington Redskins slash Commanders to then
Yeah.
the University of Washington. So I always kind of have to unpack that.
Yeah.
When I was with the Commanders,
Yep.
when I first got there, it was Dwayne Haskins and then Alex Smith. And Alex Smith was coming back from his leg.
Hmm.
And Alex Smith was 35 at the time. I was 25. Wild. And I was in the QB room. I was like the assistant quarterback coach, and I was in doing Indy and making their QB tests and tips and reminders and doing breakdowns and giving a scouting report. And like I was with them every day. And I remember asking Alex, like, middle of training camp, hey man, like, why would you ever listen to me? Like, you're 35, Pro Bowler, first overall pick. I'm 25, whatever. I never played in the league. He said, if you can help me get ready for Sunday, I'll listen to everything you have to say. Like, if you can help me, I'll listen to you. Now, and this goes for anybody, and this is still him talking. He's like, now, and this is for anybody regardless of age. If you're wasting my time, I'm not going to listen to you. And that really stuck with me. It's like, okay, if Alex Smith can say that, these college kids can say that. And they're very receptive. Like, it's not like, even with the NIL and everybody's like, oh, has that changed a lot? Like, not really. They drive nicer cars and they have jewelry on, but like, not really. Like, they want to get better. Good players want to get better. And it's usually the ones that don't listen to you or that fight you. Like, they're usually not very good players in the end.
Yeah. No, 100%. That makes total sense. And I know we'll wrap up here. I know you got to run. You guys probably got meetings or something going on. But one of the questions I wanted to specifically ask is, I mean, like if you were sitting down with a high school quarterback and his parents right now, I mean, kind of remove the Washington coach. I don't know what recruiting period we're in right now. So let's hypothetically, what would you tell them what it really takes to play Division I football in today's landscape?
That's a good question. I would say it takes a bigger commitment than you can imagine. If you want to be good,
Yeah.
you can go be on a team somewhere and not really do much, but you don't really have an idea of what being committed looks like until you've seen it.
Hmm.
When I was shadowing Peyton Manning, it was exhausting being around him because he was so locked in every meeting and asking questions and writing notes down and at practice being very specific with what he expected on certain routes and protection calls and what hand signals we give for that. And, it seems like overkill. It seems like, can this guy relax a little bit? But like that's what wins you games. And in his preparation too, he had to rediscover his mechanics because he lost feeling in his fingertips. So he was trying to recreate his throwing motion. And the biggest trend right now that I think is hurting athletes is just this wanting to look cool and wanting to look like everything's easy. Like, why on earth would you want everything to be easy or look easy? I don't understand that. I don't understand the like, it's easy for me. Like, well, why are you doing it then? Like, because everything that's hard, that's the juice of life right there. I mean, nobody's proud of anything that was just like super easy. Um, I mean, you could go right now, play a high school game and throw for a ton of yards. You probably wouldn't be that proud of it. You'd probably feel like a loser.
Yeah.
Um, because you would be a loser if you did
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But it's just like leaning into like, dude, hard is awesome.
Yeah.
Like hard is cool, and watching extra film and caring what you eat And when you are old enough to drink, like realizing like, yeah, you can do that, but like why? Like that's not really helping you. And I had a great time in college. Let's
Yeah.
just be clear. But like there's a time to lock in. And the guys that take it really seriously, if football doesn't work out, they're usually pretty successful in whatever else they do because it's not going to work out for everybody. But that is a common theme for I've been around Peyton, Charles Woodson, Ray Lewis, Maurice Jones-Drew. I went to high school with Christian McCaffrey. They all have that in common. It is really the one thing they have in common is they are what these kids would probably call extreme tryhards.
Yeah.
They are. Yeah. Yeah, they take it brutally seriously. Their diet, their preparation, their lifting, their sleep. Um, they are very serious about it. So if you want to be good, you better take it serious.
Yeah, no, and that's huge. And I mean, just the final questions, and I'll let you jump and get off here. But I mean, just kind of relating back to your dad. I mean, you've been so fortunate. I mean, just the names and caliber of Hall of Famers you've been surrounded by. I mean, just growing up the son of a longtime NFL coach. I mean, how did that shape? I mean, your leadership style.
Yeah, when I was growing up, it didn't really hit me that I had like a super unique childhood, but I definitely did. I will say this, like it's extreme pros and extreme cons. Um, I had to move a lot, and you don't make great friends when you move a lot like that. I'm still friends with some guys, but I didn't graduate high school with guys I went to high school the longest with, and I wasn't even at graduation because I left early to play college football, and I went to a different school my senior year because my dad got fired my junior year. Um, but being exposed, like the majority of kind of the lessons I learned was just from being around. It was just being in the building. It was just being at training camp, and I got to go to away games with my dad, which is amazing. Seeing how a night before the game looks, seeing what a well-organized sideline looks like, being at a training camp and seeing how you deal with, hey, we have a really banged up tight end room. Okay, well, we still need to practice. Like, what can we do? And I know that's a very specific example, but it's just like dozens of those types of specific examples, dealing with players, with big personalities. And the money part is kind of its own thing, and it's more like they have strong personalities and they're grown men with
Mhm.
families. And unlike in college, like if you say something that is wrong, like in the NFL, you will get confronted immediately.
Yeah.
And in college, they don't really know any better, so they just kind of accept it as fact.
Right.
So you get checked, or you will get checked,
Yeah.
if you're in the wrong, or if anybody's in the wrong in the NFL. And um, it's more of a NFL always felt like you are working with them. You are with them helping to win a game. College, it feels, and it still feels this way, even with money. You are developing them and you are coaching them. Um, and you have them ages 18 to 22, 23. Like that's a very specific, influential time of their lives. When you get them in the NFL, they're like adults.
Yeah.
Like other than the rookies, they're like full grown men. They got it. They're good. It's all football. Like it really is all football. Um, but it's hard to kind of pinpoint exactly one thing, but there's just been countless of them. Very, very fortunate though.
Yeah, no, and obviously, I know. Final question for you. I know you're just hitting your stride in coaching. I'm sure you have big aspirations to continue moving up the chain and accomplish more and more. But I mean, when you look back from Alabama to Florida to now coaching at Washington, I mean, what's something that Luke Del Rio is most proud of?
Ooh. I would say very unorthodox kind of path and journey. And I have had some great breaks. I've also missed out on some great breaks. And I think if you can just continue, and I feel like I've done this, just be consistent in who I've been and who I am and kind of how I operate and not changing to sort of be a chameleon. Well, maybe I'll get hired if I act like this. I think I think you be yourself and eventually the right opportunity presents itself, because if you're trying to be something you're not, and all of a sudden like you get hired for that, well, now you gotta pretend every day at work.
Yeah.
So just being authentic, and I know I'm kind of going back to that, but and also, I have two kids now. You have kids. We're getting older. Um, but like being there for them and getting to experience things with them and my wife and all of that, it's just like such a wild journey. I mean, you're not in coaching, but it's kind of similar
Yeah.
to what you're doing as well. And yeah, just having in a profession that doesn't have a lot of balance, trying to have the most amount of balance has been something I've been proud of, because it is hard. It takes effort to try to keep your family involved in a profession that you're at work all day.
Yeah.
Um, but that's always kind of something I'm striving for.
Yeah, no, 100%. And yeah, Luke, I mean, I appreciate you, brother. I mean, not just for, I mean, obviously what you've accomplished, but for the example, I mean, you set for me years ago. I mean, you definitely showed me what it looked like to, I mean, just operate like a pro, whether you were aware of it or not. I mean, you carried your lifestyle of being around your dad, being around pros. I know you told me stories of seeing guys get hyped up and smacking themselves in the face and all kinds of stuff that we didn't even get into. But just want to thank you for taking some time, brother, and definitely appreciate our relationship.
Thanks, man. It's been great to catch up. We'll stay in touch, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yep, 100%, brother. Appreciate it. For everyone listening, make sure you guys follow Athlete Country Club for just more real conversations that help athletes and parents understand what it truly takes to play at the next level. Until next time, appreciate you guys.